Another day, another chance, another way, another recording. Today I'll be going over a chapter, a very interesting one that's gonna go over like a super calculator. So I'm doing this chapter along with a colleague of mine called Ernest. He's gonna be driving, I'm gonna be the navigator, and he's gonna be the driver. So yeah. So that's what we're doing, and yeah, it's pure programming. Let's get to it, man. Right, so putting it together, operators. So an operator is a symbol that performs a task, an operation using operands. In this chapter, you learn about the different types of operators you can work with in JavaScript. JavaScript has an operator for every need and a couple operators that you'll probably never need. Instead of simply listing all the operators, let's write a program that lets you choose operators and enter in operands and then see the result. The program will be a super calculator. It can work words and letters as well as numbers. So this is the super calculator that we're going to be working with. As you can see here, it's got its operands, it's got its different data types, which pretty much for this arithmetic operators for like numbers, string operators for strings. I've seen comparison operators for like booleans, then substitute in the second operand. You've never seen a calculator like this before. Friends, this calculator can do every arithmetic. Add, subtract, multiply, and even divide, man. There's way more than you can do, man. You can also take in two numbers, that's right, any two numbers, tell you how much is left over when you divide one by the other. So this is pretty much like a super calculator. I'm not gonna go over this because I just want to like mention like the key info that we're going to be doing here. So what this is pretty much saying is it's pretty much giving you what type of things it can do. A super calculator can take in two numbers, do arithmetic operations like adding, division. It can do boolean work like true or false. It can do string work. It can do like all sorts of like stuff, man. So that's what it can do. Everything that you can think of, it can do, man. So you got the right. So yeah, and obviously, if you really want to know, obviously the next pages are gonna go over the operations, how they work, and also the formulas. That's what they're gonna go over. So I just want to like go over the formula now with my VS Code. So 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 for here, you do shift exclamation mark, then enter. Then what's gonna happen is this is gonna pop up. Doc type HTML head body. So that's gonna pop up. Then for title, what I did was I changed from documents to the super calculator. Oh yeah, the super calculator. Yeah, mind the spelling error there. Then meta name viewport. Okay, so that the computer gives you that link relation. I want it to be a style sheet. And then the href is going to be chapter 9.cs or CSS. So I want to refer to everything. So HTML and CSS work together. It has a pairing. Bring the statics right for the web page better. So I took the CSS that was meant for the HTML and I pretty much sourced it out to the HTML so the HTML could look better on the web page like how it looks like now. So the colors and different things that you see here is a result of like CSS. So as a result of me sourcing out my CSS to my HTML, so ID, calculator, header h1.js super calculator. The super calculator shows the results of using different operators. Very generic, so I got my heading there, and then I got my paragraph there. Then I got my div class input area. So I need to put like an input, right? So step one, in the first operand. So the instruction that you see here, step one, in the first operand, the stuff that you see there, that's the input area, right? Text type, text ID, operand, one, value, one. Select ID, operand, one, slash type, option value, a number, right? And then you got your option value again, string, So this is pretty much like a drop down operand one type, so this here, it's gonna give you like a drop down box. I'll show it to you now. Number and string, so that's what's gonna give you. So number and string. So for operand one type, that's what it gives you. Select div class equals input area, choose an operator. So input area, it's gotta be like step 2. This here, step 2, choose an operator. That's what you're dealing with. So div class operator choices, arithmetic operators, right? So for your arithmetic operators, the values that you see here, input type radio. So radio, what radio does is it doesn't like it's not selection that you've got. What radio does is it makes sure that if you choose one value, it'll make sure that you won't be able to choose the rest. As a matter of fact, if you first choose the first value, right, then that means you're gonna be prompting the functions for that value. But if you choose the third one, then you won't be prompting the functions for the first value anymore. Instead, you're gonna go to the third value instead. So that's what the radio does. So I'll show you now. So let's say, for example, you choose this, right? So it's up. So the operator is blue. Then you choose that. Instead of having a case where it's pretty much like a selection, like a list you select from, it's gonna be a radio where if you choose one, then you'll be able to access that one. But if you choose another one, the first one that you chose be deselected and the third one be selected instead.
Okay.
It's pretty much like a radio that they have,
So you tune in the channel.
Yeah, the channel. So this is like everything that you see here is a channel that you've got.
Yeah.
You choose from these 5 ones, you have to choose one. Press space. Okay. So this has been commented out. Then you got your input type, radio name, operator value, radio name, operator value, radio. So this is pretty much so then you got your operator name, which is operator, then value plus. So that's going to be the name of it, So that's going to be the name of what you're doing with here, then value plus, and this here, is just like the language. It's pretty much the same as the value symbol that you've got here. This is pretty much the name of the value that you've got here. So minus and NPSP, this character entity representing Unicode. So this character entity represents the code that you've got here. So it's pretty much, they work the same. They pretty much the same. So string operator, input type radio name operator value concatenate. So this H3, right, string operator has to refer to like what you have here, string operator. As you can see here, everything has been encased, in your div element for your second step. So your div elements input area, so you got your div elements here, and then you got your div element class there. So all the code that you got here has been encased within those div elements, as you can see them there. So all of them have been encased. So for string operator, input type radio name operator value concatenate. So you had to concatenate the string, So that's what it does, So that's what it does here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Concatenate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And then what you've got here is so you know what if you want to concatenate strings, what you do is they take two or more strings, right, and they put them together to create a singular string. So let's say, for example, you've got three values, right, that have been spaced out. What concatenation does, it takes those strings or values and puts them together. So that's what it does. So for example, I like ice cream. So I can take those three different strings and put them together. So let's say, for example, you got a string for your first operand, you got a string for your second operand. What concatenation does is it takes those two operands and puts them together so that they'll be able to be placed together for your results here. Don't mind my language, sorry. For your output return value, for your operation, you can take the operand 1, operand 2, plus them together. Return value is going to return a singular string. So that's what it does here. So yeah. And then comparison operators. So this is pretty much your booleans. Equals, equal exactly, not exactly equal to, greater than, greater equal to, less than, less or equal to, minus equals, greater equal to. So these are pretty much the same. You have this pretty much have the same values as what you'd have for your for like the arithmetic, pretty much your first one. Let's see here. Sorry man, I couldn't even pronounce that. The arithmetic operators. So the value that you got for arithmetic operators are the same values that you find for your comparison operators, which is pretty much like a boolean. So to remind you what a boolean is, it's like a true or false value. And then you got div class input area into the second command, input type, text ID operand, value 1. So input area into the second operand. So this is pretty much what we're doing here. And then div class input area, step 4, click the button, submit. So you got to type of button, you got submit, ID submit, value operate. Yeah. Yeah, then value operate, then div class output area, output operation, final operation. So you got click the button, operate, and then you got output operation, then return value. So this here, oh, output area operation. So that's what you're dealing with there. That's what you have. So that's pretty much, so HTML is responsible for what you see on your web page, right? So it's everything, it's all your workings on your front end. So this is actually a full stack relationship between your Java and your HTML. So for your HTML, it's for your front end, everything that, all the settings that's responsible for what you have on your front end, .html. Now let's go to .js. Now let's go to the back end now. So all your operations, like your operand. So you got document get element by submit, add event listener, click. So this does is actually functions to calculate it button, right? So the button that you've got here, submit button that you have here, right? Click the button, operate. What it does is an event list has been added, which is click that calculates it. So the click string, make sure that as soon as you click the mouse, it will prompt a response from your add events listener, which is calculates it. Calculates it. What it does is it takes your operation, calculates your operation, and gives a return value for your operation. So function calculates, it creates some variables. My operators return value. So the variable my operator return value, then operand 1 document get element by ID operand 1. So what this does is fetching operand 1 from HTML, and it's pretty much giving it the value. It's giving it the function, a variable. That's what it's doing. It's giving it the variable. And then same thing here that you've got for operand 1 type. So the types that you've got in your HTML. See here, you got your types here. The types that you've got the type that you have, for select ID, operand type 1, and then type 2, same thing there. Same thing there, operand 2 type. So that's what you do. So operand 1 type, variable select 2 document dot get element. So it's pretty much the types that I just showed you from the HTML, pretty much get variables. So you choose to select the other types for operand 1 and 2. Variable operand 1 type select 1 dot value. Variable operand 2 type select 2 dot value. So it's pretty much the same thing. So retrieve selected data types for operand 1 and operand 2's variables. Variable radius equals document.element elements for ID. So the JS is pretty much taking all the stuff that you have, all the IDs and classes that you've got in HTML, and giving them functions and values. That's what it's doing. So your radius, for your operator, it's pretty much being given a value. So you got switch case. So this is your switch case, right? So what it does is it takes string and number. So your switch case, right? So this is the switch case that you got here. So your switch case is pretty much like a drop down box, everything that you have to select from. So you got your switch case, right, for numbers and strings, right? So that's your switch case operand type. So your operand type, it's got a switch case, right? So string and number, that's your switch case. So for operand 2, same thing, it's got a switch case as well. So those are like your switch cases that you got. Then for loop variable index equals 0, length radius at length index is greater than length. So it's looping through possible operand values and finding the checked one. So the operand values, right? So for your radio, the radio on your step 2, the different channels for your radio, what it does is, what this for loop does is, it pretty much loops through each possible operand, for your different channels on this radio, right? So your index is 0, right? Then your variable index equals 0. So that's going to be your variable. So what it's going to do is it's going to take the index, right? The value, right? It's going to take the placeholders for each channel on the radios, and it's going to pretty much start them off from 0. So plus for the arithmetic operator is going to be 0, and then length the radios dot length. What it does is it takes the radios and then it checks the lengths for each channel on the radio. Then make sure that the index is greater than the length of the radio, and then make sure that you increment. Make sure that you increment, So this is pretty much taking the values that you've got here and making sure that you're able to adjust the values that you've got on your radios within the channels to make sure that your operands and can pretty much you'll not have a fixed value, pretty much go up, pretty much go up in length, and got the value, So that's what happens. Then you got if statement, if radius index is checked, my operator, right, must equals radius index of value. Then for your switch case, same thing here, radius index that value. So for your radios, you got your casings for your operands, the operands that you have, the operands that you've got, they pretty much have their own casings there. So for your different channels and radios, what will happen is they'll get their own casings, right? They'll get their own casings. So make sure that the values that you got here for my operator, right, you must make sure that the radio's index value that you're referring to in regards to operators, which operators equals 2, my operators equals 2, must have these values within it. And also another one, and then you got if type of operand is exactly equal to string operand 1 equals to plus operand 1, operand 2 equals to plus operand 2 string. Same thing, so document get in by ID, final operation in your HTML. So this is going to take what you've got in your HTML, which is the final operation, which is going to be the return, operation and return value. So what it does is takes final operation, my operator, it refers to it in .html, then make sure that get in by IDs, this here. What you need to actually refer to this thing that you got in HTML is equal to operand 1 plus my operator plus operand 2. The same thing for your return value. The same thing for your return value. The formula to refer to HTML, you need to equal to return values this. Then for your CSS, that's optional. CSS pretty much beautifies what you got your HTML to make your HTML or your front end look much better than what it already looks like. So I made sure that my border top, border bottom is red, so that the dashed lines that you see here are red. Input text, yellow, as you can see there. Input type submit with 200 px font size. Calculator black. So the border for your calculator needs to be black. Input area, background color needs to be like green. See here there. Upgrade choice, text align left, background color blue. As you can see there. So I'm sure you want to know how does it actually work. I'll show you now. So you got your first number, then you got your second number, your second operand. For now, for my arithmetic operator, I'm going to do add addition. Operate, returns 5 plus 10, 15. Okay. Minus, operate, -5 times, operate, 50. Divide, operate, 5 divided by 10, 50.
But you wanna go fix that?
No, it's actually just wait. Yeah, no, it's actually meant to be like that. It's fine,
No, it's not. You can go fix it. Where the division sign is, it's supposed to be a division, not a multiplication. So
Wait,
you go back to your code.
yeah, I'm going back now.
Go back to your code. Go back to your JS, your JavaScript.
I'm there now, right?
And you said that you go in the case where there's a division. Yes, you passed it.
Oh my goodness. Oh, sorry, man.
Down. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, sorry to my viewers. I just need to fix something there.
Okay, yes.
So it's like a syntax error.
Stay good before you have search. Okay.
Right? 5 divided by 10. Oh, wait. 0.5, yeah. Okay. Ernest, thank you, man.
Okay.
5 percentage for 225. Then string operator, string is right. So it takes, so for my first operand, I did hello, my name is, then for my second one, I did Cabello, then this returns it as a concatenated version of what I've already got. Right, and then
Okay.
it returns as a concatenated, and then same thing here. Right, so what I do is go to my first my input for my operand, input for second operand, go to my switch case. This is a switch case. Change it to number. False. 5 is not equal to 10. 5 is not exactly equal to 10, right? Okay, so let's do something here. Right. So I was trying to see if it's true that these actually equal to each other for my first radio, for my two radios for my channel, and the answer is no. They're not equal to each other. It's false. They're not equal. So 5 is not equal to 10. Return value true. So comparison operates value. 5 is not exactly equal to 10. Return value true. 5 is greater than 10. False. 5 is greater than or equal to 10. False. 5 is less than 10. True. 5 is less than or equal to 10. True.
Okay, so your calculator works.
Which one?
I'm saying so the calculator works.
Yeah, so yeah, the calculator works. So what JavaScript did for the calculator was it added an event listener for your operate button. It pretty much create value pairings for your output section. So take operation, you take your my values. What it did was it pretty much what it did was it took final operation, that the one that you got in HTML, made sure that equal to operand plus my operator plus operand 2, and gave you like a result of that. Same thing for your return operation, and then it gave you casings for like your radios and your channels. And then if statements for radio checked, because your radio had to have some like functionality to it as well. When you select it, it had to have some different functionalities and values. And then you got variables, for operation operand one type, two second type, select one, two, pretty much like variables for all of them, man. Radios, yeah. So CSS pretty much beautifies the stuff that you have in HTML, stuff that you display in HTML. What JSS does on the back end, it pretty much adds functionalities and values to the stuff, templates, IDs, and classes that you've got on your HTML. So CSS beautifies your front end, the front end that you get in your HTML. And then JavaScript, what it does is it works on the back end and it makes everything that happens on the back end, it makes and make sure that it has values and functions to it. So that's what it does. And then yeah, that's what it does.
Okay. Okay.
Then if you want to, yeah.
Okay, I think that's pretty much straightforward.
Then if you want to see like your elements and etc., see what works for what, you can actually go to your console and see what works for what. So so this for your CSS. So this is actually displaying what CSS does. And then that's the formula that you had in your HTML and the properties for it. And then yeah, it's referring to on your console, on your Java, It's pretty much referring to the different formulas that you're referring to as soon as you hover your mouse over something that you got on the web page. And this here refers to your CSS. The extra info that gets referred to is seen on your CSS or your console. Right? Obviously, we didn't do a console log, so nothing's going to pop up on the console. So your HTML, the pop-up that you see there is the CSS. There you have it. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, does it, Ernest? It doesn't, man.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah. So thank you very much for your time, and until next time, take care. God bless and thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Cheers.
Cheers, Ernest. Thank you, man. Appreciate it, man.
Okay. Short.
See you.